Okay, hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Anexis. My pronouns are they, them, and I am an author, content creator, and freelancer. I hope you're having a great day, afternoon, or night, wherever you are in the world and you're watching this review. So today I am talking about Secrets of a One-Night Stand. This is the second book in the Billionaires of Boston series. This is also the third video for February that is just about because February is the month of romance, or at least that's kind of how we're calling it. And this is just like the third video in this video month. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this one, but before we get started, a couple of housekeeping things. First, sorry that I'm a little bit late with this video. I just didn't have it ready, so it took me a while to actually edit it. I haven't sat down to edit, and so sorry I'm a little bit late with this video. I hope you enjoy it anyway. I will hopefully have the next one on time, but if I don't, I am a busy college student, so I cut myself a little bit of slack, Anyway, second, if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you're aware when I release videos. I try to release videos twice a week, but I'm also releasing shorts, so if you like shorts, you should have at least one short every day from me. Those are fun and reach a different audience, so those are fun. So you should get those too. Anyway, if you want more content from me, you can subscribe to my blog, which will be linked in the description. And if you would like to support the work I do here, you can do so by checking out my debut book, Daughter of Death. And it follows a young girl who is a half deity who is discovered by the mortal realm. And now she and her family have to adjust to changes. So if you enjoy that kind of story, you can find it in the link below. You can also support me on Ko-fi, where you will find, you can hire me for services I offer, or you can also just check out my bookshop, where you can get my book in ebook and audiobook format. So that is all the housekeeping. I'll see you on the other side, and I hope you enjoy this video. All right, here we are with the third romance of for February. And this one is, as you can see from the title, Secrets of a One-Night Stand, which is the second book in the Billionaires of Boston series. Now, I started off with Billionaires. Wait, did I start off with Billionaires of Boston? No. Let me see. I'm looking at my schedule right now because I have it open and available to me. So, okay, no. I started with Elena Armas, but last week I reviewed Vows and Name Only. And now we are moving on to Billionaires of Boston again with the second book. I'm probably going to end the month as well. Probably. This is tentative because I am currently reading it. But I will tentatively end the month with The Perfect Fake Date, which is the third book in the Billionaires of Boston series. So this is tentative, but may be true. So let's talk about Secrets of a One-Night Stand. So let's begin with the synopsis. She said yes to one night with a stranger. Now she's pregnant, and that stranger is her boss. She told herself it was one night, nothing more, but her heart knew the truth. Finding out her previous one-night fling is her new boss is the shock of Micah Hill's lifetime. She can't say no to being VP for software CEO Achilles Farrell. She's finally made her career dream come true. But knowing he's so close It's only a matter of time before she's back in his arms. It can't end well. Achilles' tortured family history means he's not. Oh, sorry. He's not up for sticking around long term. But Micah's surprise pregnancy is about to change everything. So, full disclosure, I have not written my blog post for this, but I will probably during the next couple of days. But it will be out before this review. And also, full disclosure, I was not really as looking forward to reading this book. I don't really want to read it. I don't really like reading about pregnancy very much. I don't. There are a couple of things that is very likely I just won't read about, including like married couples or whatever. Like there are things I will most likely just not read about. So, and this is a pregnant by the billionaire romance as it is advertised on Goodreads if you look at it. So I wasn't really looking forward to reading this, but I was invested in this series already when I read Black Sheep Bargain, and then later when I read Vows and Name Only. Another one I wasn't necessarily looking forward to because it sounded like because of the arranged marriage. Not that the arranged marriage is a trope I dislike. It's just that I thought they would be married throughout the entirety of the story, and like they were kind of like married or something in the beginning and then it would just be there. It's not something I want to read about. It's something I would write about. I would be happy to write about it, but I'm not as happy to read about it, I think. I think there are tropes I have found as an author that there are tropes I'm not willing to read, but I might be willing to write. Pregnancy is actually not one I'm willing to write. Like a pregnancy romance is not something I'm willing to write, but I am willing to write it in like I am willing to write it in like as part of the story, but not as the biggest plot point. But yeah, I have found that there are things I'm willing to write, like and stuff like that. But I was pleasantly surprised by Vows and Name Only, and the same thing can be said about Secrets of a One Night Stand. I was surprised a little bit by it. I was definitely surprised. Now, as I will also want to say full disclosure, I don't understand why. I mean, I know there's an audience for this, so don't get me wrong. I'm just not the particular audience for it, so I don't understand this. I actually don't understand what is appealing about pregnancy romances. I'm not the target audience for this, so but hear me out. I just don't understand it because the reason I don't personally understand what's so appealing about pregnancy romances, kind of like I don't understand what's completely appealing about dark romances. Part of it is A, yes, I'm not the target audience, but B, at least when it comes to pregnancy romances, pregnancy is hard, right? From my understanding, pregnancy is really hard. And I personally, while I love children, I also see them as, or at least if I were to parent, not even parent, but like I also see that children change everything in your life if you are a parent. There are things you are not going to be able to do. There are things you have to change because you have children. So in my opinion, of course, if you choose to parent, it is something that you kind of have to be aware of. So in a romance where they're kind of getting to know each other and it is something that happens in that that happens kind of while you're just having no strings attached sex, because that is what happens in this story, and then even though you're falling in love or whatever, and then you add a child. I don't know, I don't understand what the point of it is. I think to me, it just doesn't, it doesn't add up. I feel like for me, it personally doesn't add up. Which is one of the reasons I'm really not into pregnancy romances. I just don't understand. The only time I have been into a pregnancy romance is Colton's Surprise Air. And the reason I was really into that is because the premise interested me, not the pregnancy, because that was just handled in a way I was just irritated with. So, not the pregnancy, but the premise of the stalker interested me because it gave me a Criminal Minds vibe. But even then, that was not handled very well either. So I was disappointed anyway, to a point. So you know what? Yeah, I'm just not. I don't know. To me, it doesn't add up because I feel like children kind of change everything, and as someone who just doesn't want to have children at all, I still love kids and I will be happy to have them in my life as long as they're not me, as long as it's not me parenting them. Like, I'm happy to have them in my life. But as someone who doesn't want to have any biological children, especially, I just don't see the appeal. I see the appeal in the romance genre, but I do not see the appeal in pregnancy as part of romance. It's kind of like dark romance for me. Like, I don't see the appeal of dark romance because generally the ones that I've heard of and happen to have read, like 50 Shades of Grey, because I do consider it part of dark romance, are very toxic and very abusive, and you have quite the power imbalance that's not cool. Like, I know it's an audience and readers have their reasons to read the books that they read, right? I know that, and I'm not shaming you for that. You read whatever you want. That's up to you. Honestly, just by reading something, you're doing a great job. So, that is not it is not up to me to decide what book a reader reads. And I'm not like, the book police or whatever. So, but to me, it's not as appealing. It's appealing for content, if I'm at least for dark romance, it's appealing for content, but it is not appealing as entertainment, unless you can, there, some of them can be entertaining. I mean, some of them can be very entertaining, I think. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel on that. So I do want to give that full disclosure. I don't see the appeal of pregnancy romance, but I know that there's an audience for it. Other thing, to talk about the synopsis here, I want to say I do find that it is a little bit deceptive in areas. The pregnancy of this in this book is not revealed till like chapter 10 or 12. So it's not the biggest part of the plot. It's only like in the last 7 chapters maybe. And because of that, I feel that it is kind of deceptive when it kind of becomes when it becomes a pregnancy romance, because if you read the synopsis as a general reader, what it makes you think that she got pregnant after a one night stand with Achilles. It also says that Achilles is her boss, which, yes, it's true, but technically she's the VP of operations, not necessarily for him, but for, like, the entire company, which is not which is managed by all 3 of them, so all of them are technically her bosses. I don't know, it's weird. But like, the thing with this that I wanted to talk about is that the synopsis does make you think that she gets pregnant after her one night stand. But what happens is that she ends up having no strings attached sex with him, outside of work, and they meet eventually. They kind of just meet for 3 months, and at some point she gets pregnant because it looks like there was one time they didn't use birth control. That is what happens. I know I'm spoiling it, but the reason I'm doing that is because I do not enjoy these deceptive synopses. I think this is deceptive, and I don't appreciate it as a reader. I don't think readers should be deceived by the synopsis of the book. So because of that, I just find that I don't appreciate the stuff being who the hell is calling me from a 718 number? Sorry. Anyway, so I find it, yes, I find it kind of deceptive in that way, and I don't appreciate readers being deceived by the synopsis. So that is my thought on that. That is my thought there. So let me know what you think about that. I don't appreciate deceptive synopsis. I despise them. They irritate me. Which is why I'm working very hard to make sure that when I write synopsis for books I publish, by the way, if you're interested in my book currently out as of recording, you can find it in the links in the description. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't appreciate the usual that kind of thing. I think that it is important to be I think it's important to be somewhat more transparent in synopsis. Oh, sorry. I think it's important to oh wait, I think I know who was calling me now from a 718 number. Oops. I forgot. Sorry. Anyway, I think it's important to be a bit more transparent with the synopsis so that it doesn't feel like you're lying to your readers. That's my thought there. That's it. Anyway, that's that. So the prose is good, as usual. I just wanted to get that spiel. Prose is good. Very easy and accessible. The story is told between Achilles and Micah's point of views. I wouldn't say they get equal time on the page, but it is enough to tell that story. Now, as for the romance, I will say that it is very much insta-love. I consider very much insta-love. And then the other thing about the romance, and I don't think I noticed this very often and it definitely happened, I know, in Vows and Name Only. I can't remember about in for Black Sheep Bargain, but the one thing is that there are plenty of time skips in this romance. It reads like an insta love to me, but the thing is that there were a bunch of different time skips in the romance to kind of make it a thing. So like we have the one night stand. 3 months pass since the one night stand, and then there is the interview. There's the interview, and then she gets hired. Then there's like a party or whatever, and then 3 months later she's pregnant. So the truth is that this book kind of takes place in like a 6-month timeline. And then and it takes place within 6 months. But really, they have like 3 months of fully knowing each other, and I don't know. The time skips, to me, the issues I think I have with the time skips is that there is very little time. There's little time spent in developing characters. And most of the story, they're kind of with each other or thinking about each other. See, this is where I have an issue with a lot of the romances I read. Now, I did give this 4 stars because this is my biggest issue, but everything else I think was fine because when the characters were together, they had such chemistry. I really enjoyed it. Again, this is very subjective, but even though I gave it 4 stars, I'm gonna talk about the issues because I think it's important to talk about the issues here. This is one of the issues I have with romance in general. Romances that I have read anyway. Not all romances. There are I think this is an issue with the category romances I've read, because I think with the single title romances I've read, they allow for more time, for things to happen more naturally. But the thing with that I have found with this romance, and in a way Vows and Name Only as well, although Vows and Name Only it's less, it's less, I think, of an issue for me. And also Black Sheep Bargain is less of a problem for me. But the one thing I have with with issues with a lot of the runs that I read is that they sacrifice a lot of things in their story. They sacrifice plot lines, character arcs, character developments. They sacrifice it all in order to focus on the romance between the characters. I mean, yes, the romance is important in the romance story. I think it's a very important because it is the genre that you are writing. I enjoy a good romance as much as anybody, and because of that, I can see the importance of having the romance. Having the romance developed in a in a great way, and in having it be the center of the story. That is understandable because that is the genre that you are writing, and it is the same. I think it's same for other genres too, but not to the same extent as romance. Romance does need to be the center, while in a fantasy you can have, for example, you can have the fantastical elements be more in the background, but romance does have to be at the center when you're writing a romance. That makes sense, but that is no excuse for things to be sacrificed in order to push the romance forward, and that is something that I think Naima Simone has done. Now it can be excused in Black Sheep Bargain a little bit more because this is kind of like a second chance love where they have had a relationship previously, and you can kind of tell, plus they that they've spent more time together, and that there's a reason why she left, and we kind of get to see it a little bit more in Vows and Name Only. While they spend some time together, I think it's on a shorter timeline, but this one is in like a 6-month timeline. So it's kind of one of those things. I don't like when romances end up sacrificing other plot lines, other character development, and other important elements of their story just to push the romance. I don't appreciate that. Yes, I know that romance needs to be at the center, but at the same time, you added other elements to your story. If you're adding other elements to your story, they deserve as much page time as your romance, in my opinion. That is my thought. That is my spiel. And that is like the one thing. That is one of my main issues with the romances I've read. And to an extent, the romance genre, because there are a lot of these. It's very hard, which is why I had complained before to people that it is really hard to find a romance I like. And it is because of things like this. I'm very picky with my reading and I'm very critical here and there, but like this is just like, I don't know. I feel like this is basic writing things. Like this is something I just find irritating. This is just I just don't appreciate it. I just no. No. Absolutely not. I just find myself annoyed by it. The pacing works for the romance, I guess. It's not it. I wouldn't even consider it a slow burn. Again, there are a lot of time skips, which skips a bunch of development and just summarizes some of the things that are happening and stuff like that, and just that. And I guess you can, yeah, that's it. And then themes, they're explored pretty well. There's a pretty big theme about family. There are pretty big themes about family, and specifically not the best not the best family dynamics, not written, but like they don't have the best families in general. And yeah, other things I want to talk about is the characters. Okay, so we get a pretty good idea about Micah and why and her family dynamics, and we also get a pretty good idea for Achilles' family dynamics that we do. It's actually very pretty well noted, and they talk about it, and we see that, but we see more of what Micah's pretty much more in present, because her parents are both alive, but and in the story you find out that Achilles' mother is dead. I know I'm spoiling here and there, but I just I can't talk about it like this. And stuff like that. So we do see it. But the one thing that if I had to be picky and complain about is this. Achilles specifically mentions in pretty much the very beginning of the book that he has panic attacks after being in jail for 2 years and being stuck in a cell. We don't see that. This also happens to be a problem in that I kind of forgot about, I guess, and maybe didn't notice as much because, again, the problem with a lot of romances is that they bring some stuff up and they don't come back even one more time. I just this is so hard for me. I dislike it. I dislike this. In my third draft, in my third editing, I'm gonna make sure there are things I'm bringing up that are in the voice in my dreams because these are things I do not like. Oh God. Okay, so this does happen to be a problem in Vows in Name Only, where Cain says he has, I think he says he had panic attacks in the house and he has had nightmares or whatever. I don't remember what he said, but there are things that he says that brought up. They're just brought up and done. Achilles' panic attacks brought up and done. We don't get to see them on page. We kind of get to see maybe little glimpses of it, but not really. Not really. No. That is like the one thing I'm going to complain. This book needed more. I think a lot of the romances I've read have needed more character development and stuff like that. It's no wonder I love Casey McQuiston's books so much. Like, it makes so much sense why I love their romances so much. They have everything. And I don't complain so much, even in her YA. In this one, I did find the black moment to be really interesting. Because it was just a boundary setting, and I appreciate the way that the boundaries were set up, and the way that it is understood things were happening, and some of the things. But I still think that to a point there was some compromising that I found interesting. I don't know how to feel about the compromising at the end, I think, with that, but I did find that the writing of the black moment was really interesting, especially with in Micah's end. We don't get to see Achilles too much through what he does during that time, but we do get to see what Micah does during that time. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing because I complained about that in Vows in Name Only. And also Black Sheep Bargain has a similar problem. So yeah, that's kind of where I think the black moment here was interesting. I think it was okay. I would have liked better, I think. But it's not terrible. Now, all my complaints aside, I did read this romance in a couple of days, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be, as I said in the title, specifically with the pregnancy part of the romance. It could have been much worse, okay? It really could have been worse. So it's fine. I gave it 4 stars because I enjoyed reading it, but I still have all the issues I have mentioned, and I think they are worth criticizing. Again, I don't think this romance was completely for me. As much as I enjoyed it, I do not believe that this romance, like the tropes for this romance or the trope was for me. I really don't. But at the same time, I know that there's an audience for it. I just may not be that target audience. And that's okay too. It's okay to do that. So, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'd like to talk about it. I think it's very interesting. I think it's a very interesting thing. Honestly, I think a lot of I very rarely enjoy contemporary romances, but when I do, it's awesome. It's amazing when I do. But when but the ones I've enjoyed the most are all fantasy romances. So here's a question for you. Recommend me a romance you think I would like based on the romances I've reviewed. And if you can make it a fantasy romance, I'm all for it. Can you do that for me? I'd appreciate it. I think I found some fantasy romances. I found like a series that seems to be a fantasy romance from because my friend on Goodreads, I think I just follow her. I don't know if I think I requested a friendship. I can't remember. But she has read these books and they seem to be fantasy romance and I'm into it. So I have put them in my want to read list. I can't seem to find them on Bookshare. I have to look. But if anything, I'll be able to find them on Audible. And I also need to read Glow, so from The Plated Prisoner. So like, you know what? We make it work. We're making it work. So yeah, let me know what you think, because because I know that again, these are just my complaints. I know that there's an audience for this. There's an audience for everything. So let me know what you think. Okay, we're back. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoy my content, consider subscribing and turning on notifications so that you're aware when I release content. If you would like to see more content from me, besides all the videos I have in this channel, I do have a blog which you can subscribe to. It will be linked below. And if you would like to support me, consider checking out my book, Daughter of Death, and you can find it in a bunch of different retailers, but you can also find it on my bookshop, which is on Ko-fi, where you can also support me by either hiring me to do something or or just buying me a coffee. So with that out of the way though, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope you're having a lovely day, afternoon, or night, and until next time, consume stories. Bye!